Okay. All right. Is this thing on? Am I doing the thing? Is everything ready to go? Let's see. Let me check the feed. Let me check my voice so I can make sure that my voice is coming through you live, through the power of YouTube. Let me check my voice. Okay. Alrighty. So, I wanted to make a video about this because it is very strange and very weird to have this problem. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's a problem in the long run, but we shall get to that when we do. I just wanted to make a video for reference, for archive purposes, just so that I can make myself aware that yes, this is a thing that is happening, no matter how weird or strange it can be. So, I will tell one story to preface the next part of the situation that I need to talk about. And just keep in mind that this whole story that I'm about to say, the first story, I'm totally over everything that I will be talking about. It is not a problem anymore. It is all handled. Okay, so once upon a time, there was me, my mother, my father, and my brother. And let's say I probably like, well, first of all, it was the year before the Nintendo Switch was coming out in March. So whenever that was, I honestly can't remember because time flies. And yes, saying that definitely means something, but we'll get to that. So it was during that time, let's say a couple months before December, before Christmas, um, the conversation of, oh, what do you want for Christmas, little Mario and brother of Mario? And you know, the Switch was coming out next year. I was like, oh man, I wish I could have some money to buy a Nintendo Switch so when it comes out in March. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the main things that I talked about a lot. And my parents knew that I wanted one, and my brother knew that I wanted a Nintendo Switch. And then that's basically what I said. I probably said some other things. But what I did not say at all at any point in my life ever did I say, oh, I really want some, I really want a subscription to Loot Crate. I've never shown any interest in anything, just boxes in general. It doesn't even matter if it was something specifically designed for my interest. I am not a fan of getting boxes monthly of, random stuff that may or may not be useful. I want something that I know what it is and something that I can use for a very long time. So anyway, keep that in mind. So I asked my brother, "Oh brother, what would you like for Christmas?" And then he says, "Well, I was interested in that new 3DS that came out. And this was a limited edition 3DS. They do not make these anymore." Um, and then he said, "Oh, and I want this game for it and stuff like that." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I told you what I wanted, which was money towards a Nintendo Switch and other various things. And then you told me you want a new 3DS with this game. So I will keep that in mind. Come fast forward to Thanksgiving. Um, Actually, Thanksgiving Day, like the day where you have the Thanksgiving feast, that day. Guess what I was doing that whole day, the whole Thanksgiving day, I woke up, I got dressed, I took a shower, I got dressed, I went to uh, I went to Target at like early in the morning because it wasn't open because Thanksgiving. And I went to Target and I stood in line with other people because the thing that my brother wanted was limited edition new 3DS, and I had to stand in line for the Black Friday sales. So tell me, I don't know exactly how long, but I know it was long enough that you have to stand in line to make sure that you get up in the front so that you get what you want and don't have to be stuck in the long line to check out your item. So imagine how long I had to sit there and wait and wait and wait until Target finally opened for their Black Friday sale so I can get what my brother wanted and the games that he wanted. And I also got him some extra things that I thought he may like too. He asked for like one game specifically, but I was like, "Oh, I'll get him this game, and I'll get him this game too, and I'll get him that too." So I don't know how long specifically I stood in line, but I can tell you it was definitely more than 5, 6, 7 hours. So I stood in line at Target on Thanksgiving Day for 7 plus hours to get exactly what my brother told me that he wanted for Christmas. And I barely made it to the Thanksgiving dinner too. Thankfully, the hostess of the Thanksgiving dinner was really slow and the dinner took a long time to make, and by the time I got there, they were just barely starting to eat and all that stuff. So thank God I was barely able to make it in time for the Thanksgiving feast that was happening that day while I was standing in line waiting for the store to open to get what my brother wanted for Christmas. Okay, so now that you know that, let's fast forward to Christmas. Oh, and the other thing I remember is earlier in that year, I also had to stand in line to get my brother NES Classic as well. So that's another thing that I had to do to get something for him, which wasn't directly a Christmas present, but I wrapped it up anyway because my brother lives in Virginia and he's coming for the Christmas season. So I was like, it'd be cute to wrap this up in like a Christmas gift since he's going to come during Christmas. And then he can open it up and see that I got him the NES Classic at the time of release, which, by the way, was not easy to get at all. It was very limited. So just put that on the chalkboard as well. An NES Classic and a limited edition new Nintendo 3DS, which involved me standing in a store line for multiple hours. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Come Christmas time, we're all celebrating, we're all happy, all that jazz and stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't really know how everything played out, but I basically did not get what I asked for initially. But then my brother was all like, "Yeah, I got your gift, bro. Don't worry." And I was like, "Oh, okay. That's cool. Don't worry about it." And then whatever time it was, I got the loot crate. The first loot crate of the 12 that I would be receiving. And I was like, "Oh, it's a loot crate. I wonder what this is." So then I open it up. I see all the neat little stuff. Some of it was cool. Some of it was like, whatever. Because the thing about the loot crates, is that it's literally random stuff of any series or show or game or something. And I don't like everything. So there's obviously going to be some stuff that's like, oh, I have no idea what this is, but I have it now. Anyway, I got my first box, and then I soon realized that my brother, for Christmas, got me a year's worth of loot crates, which is 12 loot crates in total, full of like little things, 3 or 4 things, and shirts. The shirts are nice, I can agree on that. But what was I telling you guys earlier about how we talked about what we wanted for Christmas, and then I said I wanted a Nintendo Switch or money towards a Nintendo Switch, and then my brother said he wanted a new 3DS and a game that he wanted for it too. Do you see the problem here? One person got what they asked for Christmas, and the other person did not get what they asked for Christmas. Or did they even mention anything relating to something like a loot crate for Christmas? Now, I don't know how it works for other people, but usually when you first of all, when you ask somebody, what do you want? And then you tell somebody what you want, that's usually a very good sign to be like, oh, I should probably look into the idea of getting this person this item since they asked for it and I asked them what they wanted. That's what I thought. So when my brother told me, oh, I want a new Nintendo 3DS, I'm like, oh, then I'll go get him a new Nintendo 3DS, which I did. Painstakingly standing in line at a store for 7+ hours just to get him what he wanted. And then in return, I get something that I didn't even have a thought about wanting. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, I know that this can definitely go one of 2 ways. The way that I'm feeling right now currently, and the way other people would feel about the situation who are outside of the circle. Because people will look at this and say, oh, I can't believe you're being so ungrateful that your brother got you this gift. I'm like, yes, okay, I'm grateful that I was given this gift, but I asked for something specifically and then I didn't get it. It's not like it was something hard to get. You could just, oh, here's money for your Switch. Have fun when it comes out in March. I love you, little brother. But instead, I honestly don't know how much a year's worth of loot crates cost, but I'm sure it is not cheap. Like at least more than $100. Which is even more so a problem, is because if you're going to spend that much money on me, why don't you spend it on something that I will have use for? Because fast forward to today, I have a Nintendo Switch, which I bought by myself because thank God that I have a job in order to buy myself things like this. And I use it every day. The loot crates, I do not use every day because 9.9 out of 10 times the loot crates have something that I have no use for, or it's a collectible item, or it's a figure that just sits. It just sits there. There's no use for them. Okay? I don't know what I was saying. Okay, so yeah. I I uh okay, when people say that I'm being ungrateful, if it were the case where he did not ask me what I wanted specifically, and I had no idea about anything that was going on, and then Christmas comes along, and then my brother tells me, oh, I got you this for Christmas, I would be absolutely grateful for the gift. I absolutely, because I would be a total asshole to get something like that and be like, "Oh, I don't want this. This isn't what I wanted." No, I completely understand that. But when somebody asks you specifically, "What do you want for Christmas?" Little Mario, "Oh, I want this for Christmas. Can you get me this?" "Okay, sounds good." "Oh, by the way, I didn't get what you wanted. Here's something else that you never even talked about." Did I mention that I'm over it already? So, um, hopefully that part is understandable. You can go either way with it, but to me, I felt like I should have got what I asked for, just like I got what my brother asked for, like exactly. So, anyway, that happened. I was obviously very confused and frustrated by everything because, you know, I said what I wanted, but I didn't get what I wanted. And if he was going to spend that much money anyway on me, why didn't he just get what I wanted instead? Um, so yeah, that happened. And every loot crate that came by was just a reminder, like, ugh, why is this happening? So it eventually got to a point because I was very frustrated at the time. I told my parents about this. I told them exactly what I said just a little bit ago. Like I got him what he wanted and I told him what I wanted and he didn't even try to get what I wanted. And then they said the same thing like, "Oh, well, you have to be grateful that you're getting this in the first place and blah blah blah." I'm like, "Okay, yes, I get it, but I asked for this thing." Like, I don't understand. Why are you going to ask me what I want if you're not going to get what I want? You told me what you wanted, so I got what you wanted. Anyway, I told my parents, and after a long discussion and debate, I told my own brother about the situation. I told him everything. I told him all the flibber flabber of the situation. And at the end of the day, I just wanted my brother to save his money. I told him, "You don't have to do anything else for me. I just want you to cancel this because this is not something that I wanted, nor is it something that I asked for. So I want you to cancel the subscription, save your money, and, forget about it." Because it is a lot of money. I don't know how much money it is, but it has to be a lot of money. And then basically we had a conversation and he understood what I was trying to say. But at the end of the day, he was all like, "Well, just keep them. Just keep them, Just stick with it for a year and then, you know, that's it." So obviously as the boxes came by, fourth month, the fifth month, the sixth month, I was feeling better about the gift, especially after the fact that I bought the Switch because I was like, okay, I already have the Switch, so now this is just extra. But it would have been nice to, have the $300 in my bank account rather than taking it out of my own pocket. But anyway, um, that's basically it. And I just a little side story. The next Christmas comes along, and it's a normal Christmas, with normal gifts. My brother gave me a Best Buy gift card, which is nice because if you want to get something for somebody, just get them a gift card to their favorite store so they can pick what they want because they know exactly what they like and what they want and what's useful to them. So I think that covers the whole first part of the story. if I could wrap it up to you guys. So, me and my brother told each other what we wanted for Christmas. I got him what he wanted. He didn't get me what I asked for. I told my parents that I didn't want this. I told my brother that I didn't want this and he should save his money and refund the subscription. And now I was stuck with a year's worth of loot crates. 12 boxes, one for each month. And that's the short version of it. Now, let's fast forward to right now. Oh boy. Well, actually, yesterday, something came in the mail and it was a loot crate. But it shouldn't have been a loot crate because I already received my year's worth supply of loot crates. And it's 12 boxes. So I already got my 12 box some time ago. And then I got another loot crate. And I'm like, huh, what is this? So I just open it and whatever. And my mom's all like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on, but when your brother calls, I'll make sure to let him know." So I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then the time goes on, and my brother calls from Virginia and talks to my mom, and then they finish talking, and then my mom comes to me and is all like, "Oh, your brother." I don't know what the reason behind it is, but basically, I'm getting another year's worth of loot crates, which is paid for by my brother. Sorry, I say that out loud, and I just, oh my goodness. So even after that first story that I told you about how I didn't want loot crates and that I wasn't interested in loot crates. Now my mother tells me, "Oh, your brother got you another year's worth of loot crates." Now, I know what you guys are thinking. I know that you're thinking that I'm being ungrateful again for the second time. But let's just let's just remember how big of a deal I made it that I never wanted this in the first place. And I never wanted it enough to tell my parents so that they can understand how I felt. And then I had to tell my own brother, the person who gifted me this, that I didn't want this and that he should save his money. Now I'm getting another year's worth of loot crates, and I do not know why. When everybody knows about the situation that I just told you guys about, I don't know how much money it costs. It has to cost at least over 100, maybe $200. And many things come to mind. My first thing that comes to mind, and it's probably at the top, is brother, save your money. I do not need this. I do not want this. Save your money. Use it on yourself or whatever you think you need to use it on. The second thought is, brother, I appreciate that you're giving me this gift, but if you really want to give me something, if you really want to waste so much money on me, why don't you get me something that I want? Why don't you get me something that I can have useful? Yeah. Something that I can have use for. Like, for an example, my Nintendo Switch is running out of memory, and I could sure use I don't know what it's called, an SD card, a memory card for my Nintendo Switch so I can have more memory to download more games and stuff like that. To get an optimal SD card, it costs like $60, which is a lot for a memory card. But if my brother would just give me something to buy an SD card with his money, I'd be like, "Oh, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much, brother, for giving me this gift that I have many uses for." and that I could keep using for a good period of time. I just don't understand, like, uh, like, is there something I'm missing here? How would you feel if this was you and your brother was doing something like this? Like, they, uh, it's not a secret to my family and my brother of what I like and what I don't like. I like having my Nintendo Switch. You can buy me a game. You can get me a memory card. You can buy me an extra controller. You can get me an amiibo or something. Like, I like many things, but I never asked for another year's worth of loot crates, my dudes. I did not. And I have no idea what's going on when my brother pays for another year's worth of loot crates. When he can get me something else that I would like to have. Anything else. Maybe a new 3DS of my own because my old 3DS is getting older. Or like a new controller for my Switch, or a new game, or a new memory card for my Switch. Anything else. That is my second thought when it comes to mine. The first thought is my brother. You should save your money. Please do not waste it on me when I never asked for this in the first place. The second thought is, why don't you spend your money for something that I actually want, brother? Uh, uh, and it's so shitty too because no matter how much I can explain myself or try to justify the feelings that I feel, yeah, I'm always going to be the one in the wrong because, oh, he's giving you a gift. You have to be thankful for it. It doesn't matter if he doesn't get what you want. He's still getting you. Like, okay, what if I got my brother, like, 10,000 tennis balls? Something that's not even, like, useful to anyone in the world. I was like, I'm going to buy my brother 10,000 tennis balls. And then with my brothers all like, oh, why'd you send me 10,000 tennis balls? I don't need those. I was like, well, don't be ungrateful. I spent my money to give you 10,000 tennis balls, and you're just going to say you don't want them? How could you say that, Benny? How could you say that, brother? Ignore that. But that's basically what it is. If someone buys you something that you don't want in the first place, you're already stuck because everyone's going to look at you and be like, oh, you're not going to accept his gift? How could you be so ungrateful? I don't think that's an argument, to be honest. Especially when I explain myself about the whole Christmas thing. And, it's a very weird situation. But at this point, it just looks like I'm going to be stuck with loot crates for another year. Which, obviously I appreciate the gift. I'll try and make use of the things whenever I can, which is not very likely because most of the stuff is just junk. Most of the stuff, to be honest, is just stuff that I have no idea what it is. Like there have been some stuff like, oh, it's a superhero thing, like, oh, it's a Stranger Things, like, oh, it's insert typical modern pop show here. And it's like, oh, that's cool. Like I'm looking at it right now, I have a Widowmaker Overwatch pop what's it called, pop figure. The ones that look like characters but they don't look like the characters and have the big black eyes and stuff like that. That's what I got in one of my loot crates. And although it is cool, I don't much care for the pop figures. rather than, amiibos or something like that. But it's cool. It's nice that I got that in a loot crate, but at the end of the day, it's just sitting there. It's a collectible. It's collecting dust. It's just a figure. And it has no use to me otherwise, you know? So I don't know. I don't know. The whole point of this was just to have this recorded and archived just for future reference. Ugh. I don't know. If I was in my brother's situation, I would buy things that my little brother would want or ask for. I would literally ask him, "Hey, what do you want?" Because my brother has a job in Virginia which pays a hell of a lot more than what I'm doing. I know that for a fact. Because he's able to buy us, like, see, that's something that I appreciate very much. My brother bought us as a family I don't know how big it is. I think it's like a 60-inch TV, HD 4K TV, whatever. And he also has a Netflix account that we share as a family. That is something I didn't ask for it, but fuck, I'm very appreciative of that because it's something that I can use and it's something that everyone can use. That's a great example of giving someone a gift like that. It's a very amazing gift. It's a big TV. And also, hey, you can use my Netflix account, which I'm also paying for. That's an amazing gift. And even though I said I didn't want that, I can still make use of it. And my parents sure make use of it every single day, watching Netflix and whatnot. So, I don't know. I can definitely see why I'm in the wrong, but I feel like I feel like people don't know unless you are in my shoes. Like you don't understand what I went through to do some things for my brother. Like I stood in line to get him an NES mini for me and myself. I had to go to two different stores to do that. I had to stand in line again to get a new Nintendo 3DS on Thanksgiving Day for the Black Friday sales. And this is another thing I didn't mention. I also got him the Super Nintendo Mini, which I had to stand in line in a store to get for him because he was unable to get it because he's stuck in Virginia. All this stuff that I've done for him, all this stuff that I had to try hard to make sure that I got him one rather than just getting myself one. And then what does he do to repay me back? He gets me something that I didn't want or I didn't ask for. And now he did it again. He got me another year's worth of something that I didn't ask for or I don't want. And that's just it. That's just the thick of it. It's very hard to try and make this make sense because I can already tell people are just thinking one way about this situation. But me personally, I totally feel a whole different way, and I feel like I'm being wronged, and that I'm I don't feel like I'm the bad guy in this situation, but it's very weird. And it's very confusing and it's very irritating that my brother would do something like this rather than buying me something that, you know, I could have much more useful. Oh god. And one other thing I would like to mention. this is a like a conspiracy theory level type of thing, but I'm just thinking, what if some scenario where my brother would come to me and be all like, "Oh, well, how do I explain?" My brother would come to me and ask for something or whatever, and then I would say no or something, and then my brother would be like, "Oh, you're gonna say no to me when I got you 2 years worth of loot crates and spent my own money for you?" Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Like, I know what I'm talking about, so I know what the situation is. But what I just told you, if that makes sense to you, just it's like I did something for you. Now I'm gonna hold it over your head as like leverage so that you can't say no to me. Even though this is something that you didn't ask for, I still spent my money on you. And you have to be grateful for the gift that I gave to you. And you have to do everything I say now because I gave you this gift. It sounds really dumb, and that's far off my mind, but it's definitely a possibility. Anything is possible. And that's the worst ending in this situation. If it comes to that. If it does come to that, I'm going to lose my mind. Because I already let everybody know I never wanted the loot crates. I never asked for the loot crates. I wanted a Nintendo Switch. So everyone could fuck off and die. But hopefully it won't come to that. But it is a thought. And with that, I guess there's really nothing else more to say. Because I'm rambling. I always ramble. But hopefully the idea has gotten through. And you guys can understand what I'm doing. Okay? Sound good? Or Gucci? Alright. I'm Dark Mario 66, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.